I hope I get that much of an applause when I get off the stage. Alright, well, before I start this, I want to say I do not condone any of the activities that I perform in this story. So this is a story I like to call Rhino. Do you ever see a person and like they have like a they just look like an animal, like someone has a really long neck and it's like a giraffe. The more famous reference is Sarah Jessica Parker being a horse. You know, when I was young, I was overweight and people would call me a panda. I was fat and Asian. It was really funny. It was really good joke. But so one day my friends and I were hanging out and we were driving to the park. And I have this 2009 orange Hyundai Accent. It actually got the nickname the Clementine due to its small size and orange color. And on the outside it looks brand new, but on the inside it's just the most mediocre piece of garbage car you would ever see. So I'll pull up and I'll say I need to talk to my friend outside, and I'll start like cranking down my windows like, and they'll just give me like the funniest look, like, what are you doing, Matt? Why, you don't have crank windows? And I'll have to get out of my car and prove to them that I have crank windows, because they won't believe me. So, we were driving the Clementine and we were going to the park. And this wasn't just your average walk in the park. I see down the road, there's this huge guy and 3 girls playing in the road. I'm guessing they were his daughters. And to give you a reference for how big this guy was, he's like The Rock, but if he was a sumo wrestler. So I'm pulling up, and the 3 girls, they do the sensible thing, and they get to the side of the road. But the really big guy, for some reason, he's just sort of staying in the middle of the road, and I don't know what to do. So I'm coming up on him, and he's just feet planted in the road. So I'm like slowing down. All of a sudden he starts like running towards my car. So at this point, I don't know what I'm doing. So I swerve around him, and I look back, and he's like shaking his fist like Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Harry the Platypus, like, curse you, Harry the Platypus. And my friends are really confused. They're like, did that guy just like try and get hit by a car? We weren't sure what was going on. So we go to the park, and we do whatever you do at the park, you know, sit on a few benches, have a picnic, and we get back in the Clementine, and we start heading up, and we see the 3 daughters in the road, and Rhino. He got the nickname Rhino because of the stampeding towards the car and his large size. So we see Rhino, and this time, the daughters move again, but the Rhino, he stays in the road, and he gets me to pull over. And so I pull over, and just the demeanor on his face, like you can just see he is livid. He's not happy with me for whatever reason. So I start cranking down my window, and that's just making him more mad, because he sees my car, he's like, there's no way that's crank windows. And so I open the window, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was going to the park. He's like, why are you going so fast? It's like, I was going under the speed limit, which I was going 15 miles an hour. And to which he responds, what? So I slowly leave, and we look back, and he's shaking his fist again. And my friends are discussing, like, what's that guy's deal? We don't know what he's doing, we don't know what's up, so we leave. And this is where the legacy of Rhino is born. We would tell our friends about Rhino, and he was all this figure that everyone knew, but no one really knew what he looked like and knew him personally. So one time we were hanging out, and we're like, you know, let's drive by Rhino's house again. Because that's a great idea. So we go by his house, and sure enough, he's outside, and he sees our car, and my friend's like, dude, honk. That's great, honk. Just do it. I'm like, well, why would I honk at him? He's like, just honk at him. I'm like, okay, so I just want to do like a small tap honk, just to like get his attention, let him know I'm here. So I put my hand on the honk, on the horn, and my friend takes his hand on the passenger side, lays it on my hand, and lays on the horn for like 7 seconds straight. So at this point, I see Rhino, he's like running towards my car. I'm like trying to back up, I'm trying to leave, and I speed off. And I'm like, why did we ever do that? What? And I was like, we can never go back to Rhino's house again. 1 week later, we're back in the Clementine. Hey Matt, let's go to Rhino's house. I'm like, we really shouldn't. And then they eventually convinced me, because they can convince me to do anything. I don't know. So we go to Rhino's house again, and this time he's like, Matt, you know hot cross buns? You know you play on the recorder in like 2nd grade? Everyone knows hot cross buns. You should play that on the horn outside his house. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So he's like, honk, 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 and we leave. I was like, hopefully he didn't hear that. It was like midnight. We back out. I'm like, guys, you're so stupid. This is like the most this is what your average high school senior level of stupidity. It's like, so we leave. And all of a sudden we go back to Rhino's house like a week later, and then we do like 7 Nation Army on the horn, like honk, 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 honk. really stupid. We were pushing our boundaries. And after we did that, we went to Walmart. And at this point, it's like 3 a.m. because that's the best time to be at Walmart. But my friend, he sees silly string, and he's like, hey guys, we should get silly string. You know what we should do? We should silly string his house. I'm like, I don't think that's legal, first off, and I really don't think we should do it. He's like, come on, Matt. It's a great idea. Come on. I'm like, buy it, but we're not gonna silly string his house. So he buys the silly string, and we get in the car and we're driving, and he's like, all right, so we don't have to silly string his house, but we could silly string the handle of his Jeep, so that when he gets up in the morning, he's like, his daughter's waking up at 5 a.m., he's really grumpy, he goes down the stairs, he realizes he only has decaf coffee. He gets dressed and he gets ready to go to work, and he puts his hand on the handle of the Jeep, and he just gets silly string on his hand. I'm like, all right, that's a small prank, we can do that. And so we start driving to Rhino's house. And then my friend sees a traffic cone on the side of the road, and he's like, guys, we should get the traffic cone, and we should put it behind his car. So like, he's already mad enough when he gets his hand on the silly strings. The stupid kids, and then he starts backing up, and then he hits a cone. Like, so we being really stupid, we thought this was a great idea. And so we go, we put the silly string on his car, we put the cone, it's like 2 a.m., we leave. I'm like, all right, guys, we overstepped our boundaries. We can never go back to Rhino's house again. And we sort of agreed. And then about 2 weeks later, I was sitting in my room and I was playing a game called League of Legends. I don't know if any of you know what that game is. But so I was playing that, and I hear my dad yell from downstairs. He's like, Matt, get downstairs. And me being in a game of League of Legends, I'm like, I can't, I'm playing a game. So my dad responds, the cops are here. I'm like, oh. The cops. And then everything that I've done wrong in my life started popping into my head. When I was 6, I stole an orange eraser that was on a pencil from a Michaels. 7th grade, I called a kid a muffin, I got lunch detention. And then it hit me, Rhino. So I walked downstairs, and sure enough, there's a cop, and he's like, sir, we got a complaint from an old guy, and he said, there were these 3 reckless teenagers, and they're speeding, and they're honking songs outside my house, and put silly string on my handle, and put a comb behind it, and we want to know if that was you. And I'm like, no, why would I do such a thing? And my dad, he knew, and he's standing behind the cop, and he's just sort of looking at me like this. He's like, you better tell him the truth. So my dad's like giving me a look. I'm like, actually, you know what? Yeah, that was us. You know, I wasn't really speeding, which we weren't, but, so I gave him our side of the story, how we weren't speeding, and the original story, how he like stopped our car in the middle of the road, all that, and the cop eventually just blew it off as, okay, it's not your fault, this guy was overstepping his boundaries by getting in front of your car, silly string's not vandalism, because it's not permanent, so you're okay, just never go back to Rhino's house. And so I'm like, okay, and I'm freaking out, because I've never been interrogated. If you've ever been interrogated by the cops, it is not a fun situation to be in. And so, I did that, and I run up to our room, I grab my phone, and I text my 2 friends who were in the car with me, who were involved with Rhino. I was like, guys, the cops are here. And they didn't believe me at all. They're like, that was a good one, nice, the cops. I'm like, no, guys, the cops are here. And I think they're coming for your room because they asked for your information, and they're gonna come interrogate you, and I think they're on their way. And I'm like, yeah, right, Matt, whatever. And then I jokingly replied, I'm like, you know what, guys, you're right. I'm the only minority in this situation, so I'm the only one he's gonna interrogate. And sure enough, that's what happened. They didn't get interrogated, and that's the last we've heard of Rhino. Thank you.